Okay, so now I'm going to show you the relative layout. Now, the moment we go back here and change our main node here to relative layout, save and go back to our design, look at this. Looks like everything has disappeared, all the buttons. What happened is, because it's a relative layout, so everything is relative, they are now all stacked together. As you can see here, we still have button 4 and 5. Okay. They're there, but they're just on top of one another. Okay, so let's go back to our XML here. Let's go ahead and play around with some properties here. There is a way that we can align things relative to another items or another widgets. For instance, if we wanted to align this button 4 somewhere to the right of button 5, we can do that. Relative layout allows us to do so because it's more flexible. It's a more flexible layout that was designed for that. And most of the times you probably want to use a relative layout, and then if you want to put something inside of that relative layout would be a linear layout if you want to have that sort of flexibility that you can get from a relative layout. Very linear layout rules that we can get from a linear layout. Okay, so what we can do here, we can do the following. We can go ahead down here, our second button. We can go and say something to right of. Okay, so we have here a few properties. It says layout to end of, layout to left of, layout to right of. Okay, let's start with to end of and see what happens here. Now here, the layout to end of requires an ID of the layout that we want to be to the end of. Okay, in this case here, we are just going to say at ID / and then we're going to pass the button 5 ID. Notice the difference here. At the top here we have at plus ID. When we have this, we are assigning an ID to this button. In this case here, we're not assigning an ID, we are assigning the other item that we're going to be to the end of. And of course, as you hover over here, it says to support older versions than API 17, you should also add Android layout to right of. Okay, which I'll show you. But for now, we have to do it so that we don't have this error. So say layout to right of, and we're going to pass the same ID, which is 5. Now that error went away. In fact, let's just get rid of this altogether because we don't need this. Will do all the job for us. Save this, go back and look at that. Right away, we were able to push the second button to the right. Let's give different names to these buttons. Let's say enter, and this one we're gonna just say login, so that we can see the differences here. Look at that, wonderful. The other thing we can do, if you don't want to do the layout, we can say, for instance, to left of, keep enter. So login is gonna be first and the enter last. So login left, enter right. Okay, that happened, but look what happened here. What happened, you can see this sort of, let's make this bigger. You can see here, there is the button, but because the main button was to the left, to the end of where our screen begins, it just got squished over there. Okay, if we had this button to other side, we would have seen it. Okay, but let's go ahead and say Control Z, so we change back to what we had before. So we're back here, and there we go. Now to see that working, I'm gonna move both of them to the middle, and then we're gonna try it again. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm going to move the enter to the middle of the screen. Okay, now check this out. So if I go here and I say, so what I'm doing here, so now I have this layout centered horizontal. What this will do, it takes a boolean, let's say true. If we save this, it's going to center it horizontally, okay, on the screen. Look at this. Okay, there it is. It's centered horizontally. Now, if we go back and do what we were intending to do, which is to move this login to the left, let's say to left. Let's see if that's going to work this time. Save. We should see login first, And there we go. You see login now is here first. Now notice something very interesting here. Because the enter, the first button here, which is this one here, we said it has to be center horizontal to be true, and really is center horizontal true, because you can see now this dotted line is going all the way down, which means it's really centered here. Now if we want to go ahead and center it vertically in the middle, all right, we can do the same. We can certainly do that. So just change this to center vertical to true. Look what's going to happen. Save and enter now is there. Okay, because now is centered vertically. Because we got rid of the center horizontally, it's not going to be right in the middle here. But now let's check this out. If we go back here and say center horizontal to true as well, look at that. We have it being here. Perfect. As you can see here, there's the login as we specified still to the left of the enter button. Now you can see with a relative layout, you can do a lot of things. You can manipulate things to be where you want them to be in relation to the screen, and most importantly in relation to other widgets that you have around. Now, what if we want to make sure that certain items are where they are in relation to the whole screen? Okay, let's say if we want to make sure that this login here is at the bottom of the screen in relation to the screen. Okay, so what we can do, we can go back to this button here. Let's get rid of the layout there. Yeah, let's keep it that way. I think that's fine. So let's say if we wanted to get this login here to align with the bottom, okay, to be aligned with the bottom of our enter button here. So what we can do, we can go back here, say enter, say bottom, says layout align bottom. If you say enter, and let's add the button 5 and save, look what you're going to see. Now their bottoms are aligned as we specified. What if we got rid of this to left alignment here? Let's just get rid of that for now and save. What's going to happen? Well, so now we got rid of that dependency here, but we still are aligned with our enter button. Very cool indeed. Let's put it back. Now what if we wanted to add another text view? Let's go ahead and add a text view here. Say text view. I'm going to wrap content and give an ID, of course. I'm going to call this my text txt. Go, let's give it a text. Say text view. Save this. Okay, there it is. By default, it goes to the top left. Let's say if we want to take this text view and I'll move it to the middle of the screen. What do we do? What can we do about that? Well, we can say center horizontal to be true. So now you see it's over there in the middle. Now let's say if we wanted to actually move this all the way to the bottom of the screen, what do we do? Well, turns out there is another property we can use. We can say bottom, so layout align parent bottom. So if you go like this and say true, it's going to align at the bottom with this bottom here, right? So moved all the way down here. Very nice. Getting the hang of it. Now let's say if we wanted to actually move this to the right of our enter button here. Okay, so what can we do? Let's get rid of all of these. Well, what we can do the same as we did before. We can say to left of, we're going to pass an ID of button 5. Save this. Let's see what's going to happen. Whoops, I said to left. To left. Okay, so it's going to be to the left of that button, which is not what we really want. Let's go ahead and say to the right here. Save. Look at that. Now you see it's aligned to the right. It's not side by side. Those are two different things, right? We just want it to align with the button 5, which is the enter here. Now, if we say we want it to be side by side with our enter button, we could do just what we do with login. We can go ahead and say the following: align bottom ID 5. Save. And look at that. Now it's aligned to the bottom of ID 5. Very nicely done. Very nicely done. So as you can see, there's a lot of things you can do, a lot of properties you can go ahead and play around with. Of course, all of this can be done by dragging and dropping, but there will be times when you want to do it yourself, going back to the code part of things and do it yourself. And this is how you would do it. Okay? And remember, in this case here, we don't have a constraint layout. We are just straight going to the relative layout and other layouts. Okay? So that's the difference here. All right, so I'll see you in the next video.